Hey everyone, welcome to this yoga practice, be it the usual slow yoga flow style. Today, looking at a theme that we kind of touched on with our Angel Tarot deck pull today, the idea of competing goals and navigating conflict. And we're going to look at throughout our practice ways of navigating both inner and outer conflict. Because usually the one is a mirror of the other for sure. So I think we'll start today in a Shavasana. So down our back, get nice and cozy. Oh, let your legs go long and your feet can roll apart. Your arms are out at your sides, taking up a little space. And you let your palms face up. Head is in line with your spine. Just a slight tuck of your chin. Closing your eyes. Get nice and comfortable. Take a deep breath all the way in your nose and out your mouth. Let's do that again 2 more times. So deep breath in and out. Last one. In, take your time. And out. Let yourself just fully arrive here on the mat. Coming to stillness. Noticing the flow of breath in and out of your body. And taking a moment now to bring your attention, maybe starting down at your feet, and slowly moving your awareness up through your lower limbs, up through your legs. And just notice if there's any tension there, any feeling of perhaps tension and conflict, or any give or take. And see if you can take a deep breath in and exhale. Just create space for whatever's there. Just noticing in your lower body whatever is there. Now bringing your attention up through your hips. There's usually a lot held in the hips. And again, noticing what's there, holding some space for any physical tension or sensation. Take another deep breath. Now bring your attention up through your belly and your chest, your torso. And noticing without any judgment any sensations that are there. Just creating that safe space to allow those sensations to be. Deep breath. Now bring your attention to your shoulders, arms, and your hands. So usually a lot held in the shoulders, and sometimes for me in my hands as well. So I'm just noticing what's there. Any tightness, any tension. Taking that deep breath all the way in and out. Just creating that space for whatever I find there. Now moving up through our neck and jaw. And when it comes to conflict, these are areas that are very involved. So we're just noticing any tension or tightness that might be there. We're just creating that safe space for that, whatever that is. And deep breath. We're just noticing and allowing it to be. Noticing now the weight of our head on the mat. Any sensations throughout our face, around our eyes. Taking another deep breath. And now noticing, getting curious about mentally any thoughts that are happening. We're just observing. They might be around conflict or tension, or maybe not. And that's okay. So we're just going to observe what's there. Any mental stories going on. Observing and allowing them to be. And now moving our awareness and focus emotionally in our space right now. Are there any emotions, subtle or not subtle, that you are feeling in this moment, this now? So you're just observing what they feel like in your body or in your mind, allowing them to be, creating that safe space. And just observing. How am I feeling right now? Deep breath. Now we're going to set an intention for our practice today. And so, again, that focus of becoming aware of any inner or perhaps outer conflicts that we have or are part of. So, just becoming aware without judgment. It could be just within ourselves. I mean, we all have these moments of, wanting to get things done, do, and then wanting to, rest and relax. So that could be for you a point of inner conflict, right? That's self-discipline versus self-compassion. That might be one way it shows up for you. So just for yourself, whatever it happens to be, bringing those one or more of those conflicts to mind. I'm going to set the intention to create that safe space for that conflict. Allow it to be. And seeing if we can come into balance with our inner and outer conflicts. Coming into balance through perhaps a broader perspective or awareness. So setting that intention for yourself. And when you're ready, feel free to just move your fingers and toes. You can slowly open your eyes, maybe giving yourself a nice stretch all the way overhead. Deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, bringing a bend to the knees, soles of the feet on the mat. You can just guide yourself onto one side, just for a couple breaths. And when you're ready, slowly bringing yourself all the way back up. And we're going to meet, once we're up and are seated, in a tabletop position. So bringing your hands down to the mat. Knees are under the hips. Toes can either be tucked or untucked. Okay. And we're going to move now, spreading the fingers nice and wide, just through a few rounds of cat and cow. So inhale, we're bringing the belly down, arching the spine, bringing the chin and pelvis up. And then exhale, we're going to curve up the spine, tucking the chin and pelvis. So flowing with your breath, let your breath lead. And just noticing those different opposing forces of the arching and then the rounding. We're creating space for both. Deep breath. So really feeling the effects of both in your body. So feeling the arching effects throughout your body. And then feeling that arching, rounding effects. Where are you noticing that in your body? And when you're ready, coming back to that neutral spine. And we're going to move through one of my absolute favorites, which is thread the needle. You knew that was probably coming. My shoulders are feeling a little bit tight today, as they usually do. So here we go. We'll make sure that left hand is planted on the mat. Fingers are spread nice and wide. And then on an inhale, we're going to open up the right arm. And then exhale, we're going to bring that right arm all the way down and under. And we're going to come all the way onto the right shoulder and the right cheek. So deep breath. Option here to come on the left fingertips or to bring that left arm all the way back, perhaps resting the back of the left hand on the lower back. So finding your breath. So really feeling the twist in this pose. Maybe bringing to mind sometimes how we can have opposing and tangled intentions at the same time. Can we just take that breath? In our twisted situation and just let it resolve in whatever way best suits us, best for us, whatever that may be. And we may not know what that is, right? So we might just have to go with the flow with that a little bit. Trust that it will work out. All right. And then when you're ready, you can take that left hand all the way down to the mat and push yourself all the way back up. Created some space there. Take a couple breaths. I'm going to move through just a couple rounds of cat and cow again. Inhale, opening up the chest. Exhale, arching all the way up. One more. And then let's come back to our neutral tabletop. So spreading the right fingers nice and wide. On an inhale, taking the left arm up and open. Exhale, left arm down and under the right, coming all the way down into that left shoulder. So option to stay right here, or perhaps tent the right fingertips, or open the right arm all the way. Finding your breath. So noticing on this side Maybe it feels really different. Can you send your breath to create a little more space? One more breath. And then on an exhale, let's bring the right hand all the way down, push ourselves all the way back up into our tabletop. Nice. So just for a moment, just feeling the space that you've created, right? In the shoulders, the upper back, perhaps even in the neck. Okay, deep breath in, making sure the toes are tucked if they are not tucked. And then exhale, we're going to bring our hips back towards the heels. So just a nice gentle stretch in the arch of the feet. Feet do a lot for us. I find they just do not get, I know mine don't get the attention they deserve. So if we can ever give them a little extra TLC, it's always a great idea. One more deep breath. Nice. And then we're going to bring ourselves back up. We're going to untuck the toes, maybe give the feet a little roll around one direction and then the other direction. Nice. Okay. And then we'll bring the toes back down, tucking the toes, and on an inhale, spreading the fingers nice and wide, lifting the hips up into downward facing dog. So take a couple deep breaths. Maybe paddle out your dog. I feel like I like to do that today. I'm guiding one heel towards the mat, bending the opposite knee, and then switching to the other side. Remembering my breath. Hips are high. Let your head just hang. Nice. All right, inhale, let's flow forward into plank. We're going to hold for 3 full breaths, or as long as we can. And then feel free as well to lower the knees if you need support. So deep breath. Feeling the strength in this moment. And then on an exhale, we can lower down knees, chest and chin, all the way to the mat, untucking the toes. Inhale up into cobra. Exhale all the way down. Inhale, let's push up through tabletop. Big toes together, knees nice and wide. Exhale, hips back onto heels. Forehead can come down to the mat, or you can rest on one cheek. Let the arms and elbows rest down on the mat. So, noticing moving from strength to relaxation and being able to create space for both. One more breath. On an inhale, we're going to come up through our tabletop. And we're going to step forward so that we're coming into a standing forward fold at the head of the mat. So keeping a little bend in the knees, letting your arms, letting your head just hang. Feeling a lot of popping in my shoulders. Let that decompression happen. Couple more deep breaths. Nice. On an inhale, let's lift. Halfway lift. Long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms all the way overhead. Take your time. Upward salute. Gaze can go up if it's good on your neck. And then exhale, hands down through the heart center and then down at your sides. In mountain. Shoulders down from the ears. Palms facing forward. Feet are rooted into the mat. Legs are strong. And yet still finding ease in the breath. Strength and ease together. All right, inhale, let's lift the arms all the way up, upward salute. Exhale, we'll swan dive, bring the arms apart, swan dive all the way down, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands to the mat, stepping both feet back into our plank or modified plank. Deep breath. Exhale, lowering down either knees, chest, and chin, or down through chaturanga. If you're doing chaturanga, keeping the elbows close to the side body with control. Untucking the toes. Inhale, up into your cobra. The legs are strong, core is strong. Exhale, down to the mat. Tucking the toes. Inhale, lifting hips high. Downward facing dog. Pulling the backs of thighs to the back of the mat. Spine is long. Let your head hang. Nodding yes. Nodding no. All right. Deep breath. Inhale, up in the balls of the feet. We're going to step the feet forward to the head of the mat. Standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms all the way overhead. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Deep breath. One more breath. Inhale, sweeping the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands down through the midline. Hinge at the hips. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands down to the mat, stepping the right foot all the way back. So initially coming into a high lunge stance with the front knee stacked over front ankle, and then rotating the back foot so the sole is flat on the mat, coming into a warrior stance. When you're ready, on an inhale, you can come up on the front thigh to help, opening up into your warrior two. So the torso is facing the long edge of the mat. Front knee is still over that front ankle. Arms are parallel to the ground. Shoulders are down. Deep breath. So the legs are strong. One more deep breath. And still finding that ease in the breath. Making space for both. And then exhale, back hand down into the back leg. Let's flip that front palm and inhale up and over, reverse warrior. Gaze can be up at the top hand or down at the back foot if that feels better on the neck. Find your breath. One more deep breath. And then on an exhale, we're going to come through our warrior two, bending the front arm, resting on the front thigh, and then inhale, back arm up and over, extended side angle. So gaze can be up at the top hand, it can be forward or down with the mat, whatever feels best on your neck. Trying to keep that front knee. Mine was starting to wander there over the front ankle. Deep breath. Feeling that stretch all along that right side body. Nice. One more breath. And then on the exhale, we're going to reach that top arm forward. And we're going to bring it down to frame that front foot, coming on the ball of the back foot. And either coming through that forward fold or right into a standing split. So keeping the left foot rooted. And then the right foot goes back and up. Standing splits. So you can totally stay right here. If you want to move into our half moon pose, so bringing the left hand down on the mat, just ahead or just off to the left actually of that front foot. You can use a block under this left hand for support if you feel you need that as well. So you can totally start by just bringing that right arm so that it is right along the right side of your body, parallel. Okay, that's a good starting point. And then you can work on opening up the torso. Now this one's really shaky sometimes. What's really nice is that you can go up against the wall along your back for support. Okay. And we work on keeping the back leg really strong. Core is strong. Right arm eventually moving all the way up. And you might not get totally open. I'm not quite totally open, but this is where I'm at today. So again, trying to find that balance, right? Between strength, remembering my breath. Can I keep my ease of breath? Just holding space for whatever it is, whatever comes up. It's all okay. And when you're ready with control, you're guiding that right top arm all the way down. You bring it down to the mat, and we can bring that right foot all the way down as well, coming back into our standing forward fold. Deep breath in and out. Couple more deep breath. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, let's sweep all the way up. Take your time. And then exhale, hands down through the heart center. And then down at your sides. Full mountain pose. Take that deep breath in and out. One more breath. So you might be noticing your mind getting very activated by that half moon pose, right? That's a tough one for sure. And it can bring up a lot sometimes. So just, it's okay, right? So can you just notice that? Create a little space around it. Take a couple deep breaths. It's all okay. And then we move on. We move on to the next now moment. All right. Let's inhale. Bring the arms all the way up. Exhale, swan dive. So we'll bring the arms apart. We'll lead down with the chest. There we go. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands down to the mat. We're going to step the left foot this time all the way back. So initially coming into that high lunge stance, front knee over front ankle. And then eventually bringing that back foot so that the sole is flat on the mat and the toes are about a 45 degrees. So in our warrior stance. And then when you're ready, you can start with the hands up on the thighs or come all the way into your warrior two. So just making sure that front knee is still stacked over front ankle. Shoulders are down the back. Arms are parallel to the ground. Gaze is over that front middle finger. Deep breath. So tuning into the strength in the legs. You find ease in the breath. Remaining open. Grounding down, but yet remaining open. Exhale, let's bring the back hand all the way down to the back leg. Flipping the front palm up. Inhale, front arm up. Reverse warrior. 2 more breaths. And then on an exhale, let's come back through our warrior two. Bend that front arm down to the front thigh. Inhale, back arm up and over, extended side angle. Find your breath. Feel the stretch all along the left side. Feel that opening. One more deep breath. And then exhale, let's reach that left hand all the way forward and down. So we're framing that front foot initially. Come on the ball of the back foot. So stepping through that forward fold. Come back into the forward fold. Hands down to the mat. And then we're going to guide that left leg back and up. So keeping the hips square here initially in our standing splits. You can totally stay here. If you know you're going to need a little support in our half moon, feel free to come up against the wall on the right side. Okay, and then bringing that right hand down to the mat, perhaps on a block or a pillow. If you feel you need a little height there. And then when you're ready, deep breath in. And we're going to bring that left arm so that it's right along the left side of the body. And then we're working on bringing it all the way up as we open the torso towards the left, keeping that left leg strong. Finding your breath. If you're a little shaky like me, it's totally fine. Create space for that. That's okay. We got lots of opposing forces happening here. And we're trying to find that middle point, that balance point. Core is strong. Stay with your breath. One more deep breath. And when you're ready, you can guide that top arm all the way down. We'll bring that left foot all the way down. Well done. Congratulate yourself on attempting that one. It's not an easy pose. Coming into that forward fold. Deep breath in and out. One more time, just like that. Deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, bringing a bend to the knees, we're going to bring your seat all the way down onto the mat, coming into a seated position. There we go. Well done. And we're going to come into a seated twist. So the version we're going to do today is we're going to keep that left leg nice and long down the mat, flexing the left toes towards you. And you can either, we're going to bring a bend to the right knee, but you can either bring that right foot to the inside of the left leg or just to the outside. So I'm going to go on the outside of the left leg today. That feels good in my hip. But if when you're doing this, it lifts up the right seat, the right sit bone, you want to bring it to the inside. Okay. All right. And then a deep breath, get nice and tall. And then we're going to take our left arm and wrapping it around that bent knee, the right bent knee. Okay, that's option one. The other option is you can bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. So totally up to you. And then when you're ready, on an inhale, we're going to bring that right hand all the way back. And your gaze can go over that right shoulder as well. So finding your deep breath here. Again, coming into challenging twist. And this can definitely be what it feels like sometimes, right? When we feel those conflicts, it's like we're all twisted up and we don't really see our way out. Are we able to find your breath? Create a little space. Broaden our perspective. One more deep breath. And then exhale, let's release, come around to neutral. All right, take that deep breath and let's release that right leg long down the mat. And then we're going to transition to the other side. So again, just taking that moment and rooting the right leg, flexing the right toes towards you. Okay. When you're ready, bringing a bend to the left knee. Again, the left foot can be on the inside of that right thigh or to the outside. So for me today, it feels like I like it on the outside. I'm noticing my left sit bone is still connected to the mat, so I'm good. Okay, I'm going to take that moment and just get nice and tall. Reach the crown of the head up. And then either hugging that knee in with the right elbow around that left knee or bringing that right elbow to the outside of the left knee. So today this feels really nice in my shoulders. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to take that left hand all the way back behind and my gaze over the left shoulder. So finding your breath. Feeling the space. Every breath creates that space. One more deep breath. And when you're ready, on an exhale, let's release around to center. Oh, feels nice. I'm going to release that left leg long. And then we're slowly going to bring ourselves all the way down onto our backs. And let's bring the knees all the way into chest once we get down here. And we're going to hug those knees all the way into chest and just a little rock from side to side. Nice. And when you're ready, we can bring both feet flat on the mat. Arms are going to come down at your sides nice and long. So we're going to bring our heels that they're just about touching our middle fingers. Okay, their feet are about hip distance apart. And when you're ready, on an inhale, pushing into the feet. And we're going to guide our hips high. So coming into bridge pose here, creating a little opening, a little space. Option here to clasp the hands behind the back, and you can roll your shoulders onto your back if that feels good. Or perhaps bringing a bend to the elbows. Just whatever feels best for you. And find your breath. We're going to hold it here for 5 breaths. So keep your head in line with your spine. Knees stay hip distance apart. Stay with your easy breath. Let's go 2 more breaths. And then on exhale, the hands are clasped. Feel free to release and then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, rolling all the way back down, hips back down on the mat. Take a deep breath. Then we're going to take our right foot and let's place it on top of the left thigh. Flexing the right foot. And then when you're ready, let's guide that left knee into chest. And you can bring the hands behind the left thigh if you liked. So coming on into our figure 4 here. Supine pigeon. Flexing both feet. You want a little extra stretch here in that outer hip. You can guide that right knee towards the opposite side of the mat. So just a little more tension there, a little more stretch. Finding your breath. And then exhale, let's release that left foot down to the mat. And then take your time, but we'll place that right foot down, keep the right knee bent, and then switching sides. So we're bringing the left foot now on top of the right thigh. Flexing the left toes. And when you're ready, guiding that right knee towards chest. And you can bring the hands again behind that right thigh to help guide the right knee towards your chest. And if you want a little extra stretch, you can just guide that left knee towards the opposite end of the mat. Finding your breath. Just creating that space for whatever is there. And when you're ready, we'll slowly release that right foot down to the mat. And you can guide your left foot down to the mat. And then we're going to bring both soles of the feet towards each other. And we're going to create a diamond shape with our legs. So coming into a reclined bound angle position. Feel free to use cushions if you have them under the knees for a little support. That's really nice. Hands can be wherever feels good for you. So it could be out at your sides. You can bring them both to your belly. Perhaps one to the chest, one to the heart space, and one to the belly, whatever feels good. And just see if you can settle into stillness here for a few more breaths. Creating space for both the stretch and the intensity. and the rest and the relaxation. Allow your breath to create that space and openness for both. And feel free to stay here for your final rest pose if that feels good for you. Or if you'd like, feel free to lengthen the legs and come into your final Shavasana position. So wherever you are, make sure that you can come into a completely restful, at ease way of being. And taking that deep breath all the way in, feel your belly and your chest expand. And then exhale. Just allow every single muscle in your body to completely relax. Allow yourself these last few moments just to rest and allow your practice to integrate. When you're ready, feel free to gradually begin to deepen your breath. Bringing a little movement back into your body in whatever way feels natural for you. And then in your own time, feel free to guide yourself onto one side for a few more breaths. And take your time and slowly, gradually begin to bring yourself back up into the seated cross-leg position. Let your hands for now just rest on your knees or thighs, keeping the eyes closed. Take a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. Bringing to mind now our original intention. Creating space for both sides. And practice not choosing sides, but listening to both. Within you, is there room for both? Is there room for effort and ease? Is there room for certainty and curiosity? Is there room for self and others? Really creating space for all. I make space for both. And saying that one more time quietly to yourself. I make space for both. Deep breath. Bringing the palms of the hands together, thumbs pressed into the heart center. Taking a final moment of gratitude for this time and this space together today. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for that practice. Looking at perhaps something that's a little tough to look at inside of ourselves, right? That those diopposing polarities in so many areas of our lives that we often think that we've got to figure it out and we're going to be in one way or the other. But when you really look at it and you're really honest about it, there often is both, right? And so trying to get to a space where we can create space for both. So I really hope you enjoyed that. It spoke to you on some level. And I really hope you can bring it off the mat with you this week as you spend time with yourself. And especially us here in Canada, moving into this following weekend with Thanksgiving, when we move into relationship with others. So I'm going to try really hard personally to remember that. Can I create space for both ideas, and maybe handle any possible conflicts with a little more grace and understanding? I'm going to try and remember that. All right. Thank you guys so much. I hope that was helpful. Until next time.